Hello friends, good morning, it's Fatima here. A couple of people are asking me how can they start a foundation roll, or how can they start a project on the Addi. We have a few people new to the group, and it's always nice to know different ways. And today I'm going to demonstrate you 7 ways of doing that to start and to finish a piece or your work on the machine. We have a number 1 here, which is the weaving back in and out through the machine. It's the number 1. I'm going to demonstrate all of them for you today. I know 7 ways that I have here, okay? I have 7 ways to how to do that, to start your work. But today we're just going to do a few. When I do the first one is the most very simple method. Is the one that is used for you to do a hat. You can pull the string right here, and that's going to be for you to close your hat. This have many purpose too. If you're going to use to finish with the roll of single crochet, is very easy for you to pick it up your stitches, your loops, and do the crochet from here. This as well, it's nice when you're going to do the mattress stitch. You can use this one. There is the Kitchener stitch. It's very nice if you use this one too. However, I like this one better, but this one is the one that I use the most, this method here, because like I said, it's very fast, very easy, and they have many purpose. Okay, so let's do number 1, and I name it just the regular or the common way to start your work. Okay, so I know most of you know this way, but there is, like I said, people asking, so we are going to do it. Okay, so I like to start always on my black, after my black needle. Okay, if I'm knitting around or if I'm knitting a panel, this will be my guidance, my 3 spaces for the flat panel, to begin to end. I always like to use my started here on my white one. So as I have here, I have yarn, just regular yarn, and I have a little clip. I like to put the clip at the end of my yarn because this way it secures the yarn on place. Okay, so what we're doing, this one is the regular one. You're just weaving in and out. Okay, so this one was in, now this one is out. So you're going to be like that, weaving in and out of the machine. So you see, manipulating your hand back and forth and weaving like this. So when you get to your last one, the desired number of needles, you're going back, make sure it's around let's call this the wall. Okay, because this one separates this needle from this needle. Okay, so let's call this one the wall. And down the bottom, the little red ones down the bottom, I call them teeth. Okay, and the white one, it's the needle, of course, but I split the needle in two parts. I call the top of the needle here the hook. I call it the neck, and the other one the body. So if you hear those terms don't get confused. They are just my terms, my interpretation of describing my work. They are not, you know, most people, I don't know if they're familiar or not, but it's the way I can describe my work. So again, this is the wall, the separation wall, the big red teeth. The bottom ones are the small teeth, they are the teeth. So wall, teeth, needle, it's split in two. So there is the body and the part of the hook is the neck. Okay, and this is the yarn feeder. And now we did pick it up our last stitch and or needle. We're going to open the yarn feeder, close the yarn feeder, and I always ask people to pay attention on their tension of the yarn. If you give too much tension, you're not gonna have enough room when the needles go up and down, and therefore will get caught, and you have you know, a chance of breaking your needle. So you just be consistent, but not too tight, okay? And not to lose to a point that you're going to miss your stitches. So again, the yarn went around the wall here and there. Now we're gonna start crunking. So as you're cranking the machine, it's best for you to always check if the needle, it's not cutting, separating the fibers of the yarn. If the machine, if the needle, the hook of the needle picks it up a little piece or splits the yarn, what you're going to do is you're going to stop your work. Your work is going to be very hard. You're going to crank your machine, and then your machine is not going to function properly. It's going to be very stiff. And the more you pull it, force the needles to go up, okay, the more is the chance of you breaking the needle. So the first row, please keep looking at the yarn to see if the needle of the yarn is not splitting your yarn. So by the second row, it becomes much easier, much smoother, and you can just be cranking normally. So for people who doesn't know how to do flat panels, I always give it a little tug, okay? And my yarn I'm holding out, I give it a little tug around, so you have more control of your work. By giving a little tug here, your edges are gonna be much neater, okay? So I'm gonna keep cranking a little bit more, and let me show you something. You see how the needle pull the stitch up? So this is a problem too. If the yarn is not all the way to the bottom, around your little red teeth, okay, the needle, it's not, when the needle goes up and down, going up, picking up the yarn and leaving the yarn around the neck, that yarn is going to skip the row, okay? So for your not skip a row, your foundation stitch have to be all the way at the bottom, and the new yarn has to be picked up, the whole yarn not split by the needle, okay? So if you see that, all you can do is you just pull it down, okay? And go slowly crank back and forth, give it a little tug, and then continue. And that's the most easiest, fast way to do this. Sorry, I got a knot here. To do this foundation row, okay? So as you see it again, I had to put it down, and now I crank it. So you see, I'm going to do one more. See the needle lift the yarn, lift your work. So put it down. It has to be all the way at the bottom. Now the needle picked up the yarn and is now about to knit. So this is the way, concludes the way. Let's go to the number 2 now. The second way to do it this. Okay? So, and I'm going to show you. So let's see it, the number 1. This was the number 1, and I call it the regular stitch. This is the one that you also, to finish your garment, you don't need to use many rows of yarn here to secure the stitch. You could just pick it up every stitch with your yarn and the needle that they provide. Okay, so let's do that. So we can see how we're going to do this. Okay, there is, like I said, there is many ways to do it. So like I said, there is many ways to do it. So the needle that it comes with your machine is this plastic red needle, and what you're going to do is you're going to finish picking it up your stitches. When you determine the number of rows and you're happy with, what you're going to do is, you know what? Let me just do one thing. Another thing is I try not to finish in that side. Okay, I try not to finish in the other side. I like to finish always where I begun. So I begun here, so I'm finishing here. So now what you can do is you just remove the yarn from the yarn feeder and just keep cranking the machine back, and don't crank so much that they are all falling. Okay, you're going to lose them. And now you're picking up one by one with your needle and thread. So you're picking it up those, okay, and this goes very, very fast. And don't crank all of them at once, because if you do, you're going to lose them. So you keep doing this one by one, okay? And as you can see here, it's pretty easy. Very, very, very easy. And keep in mind that I say a lot, think Addi. Why do I say think Addi? Because I don't know much about knitting machines, but I know this. A knitting machine, it's always a knitting machine. However, the Addi needs a few things to function. Is you have to crank, you have to keep the yarn around the red pegs, and you have to keep the needles in motion and making sure the yarn is around your needle. But it basically does the same thing. Okay, so this would be perfect for us now to finish your piece, doing maybe knitting, or you can do a brim, or or you're doing with the crochet around here. Okay, so this was our number 1, and let me get it here. Sorry folks. So I'm going to see it. Bear with me. It's just myself here. So again, that was my my begin, and that was my end where I picked up the stitches from the machine. Okay, So let me tell you something. When I do this method, it's because I want to do something really fast. So if I want to do a hat, really a hat under a half an hour, very, very fast, I do that way, okay? Because it's the easiest way. Now, let's go into let me show you the second way to do this. And I'm gonna really do a close-up here. So this is it's basically the same one, the same way we did. However, I used a different kind of yarn. I use a different color. I guess you could say a highlighted color or a wasted yarn. So because this way is much easier if I want to start doing my project, it's easier for me to see it, the loops or the stitches where they are, because I have the contrast color of yarn, okay? And the other method to finish is using scrap yarn. Using scrap yarn here, a few rows, so it's easier for you to pick it up also. Okay, so let's do this one, and this one I call it the regular with wasted yarn. Okay, and that's my second one, regular with the wasted yarn. Okay, so we're going to do this again. I have my my fashion yarn, and this time what I have is a little piece of a different yarn, and of course it's all the way there, but I have this piece of yarn, and when I have to do this, of course I give a big piece of yarn. So what I do is I put the two together, the two colors together, I clip them both together, okay? So they're gonna be there. My fashion yarn, and let's pick our black needle here, okay? Let's start it here. So, oops, it came off. Sorry guys. So I get my fashion yarn, in this case is the white one, and I put it through the machine. So okay, it's through the machine there. Now what I have to do is this fashion yarn is gonna be before the wall. Okay, it's gonna be before the wall there. And this one, my contrast color, is going to be weaving in and out of the machine. Okay, so basically what we do is we are just forming, doing what we did, but the different way to do it. So make sure your contrast color of yarn is at the bottom, the white one is at the neck of the needle. Okay, so we're going to crank the machine, and this one was in, now is out. See, I'm just weaving the machine, and is going by doing this, is going by and picking it up the yarn. Okay, so I'm going to finish. This is my last one. This is going to be right there. I hold it a little bit, crank it. Okay, you get to the last one. Now let go of that little one, that little strand, and then you just crank it back slowly. Okay, as you would do it. What is the purpose of these? The purpose of these is to highlight where your stitches are. Okay, so you picking up them faster if they are in a contrast color, you're picking them up faster to do a crochet border or to do any other things that you have to do it. Okay, so I am just giving you here options for you to see which method it works better for you. If it works better just starting with your fashion yarn, or if it just works better doing right away a different yarn. Okay, now I'm going to show you again. I have this how it is. So again, this is the little part that we use, that little strand, okay, holding the stitches, and this one, and then later you introduce more wasted yarn and finish with your wasted yarn, so it's much easier for you to see where the loops are when you're picking up the loop. Okay, so this was number 2, okay, with the wasted yarn 1. Okay, so that was 2. Now let me introduce you the number 3. The number 3 is a little bit different. What is the purpose? The purpose to me of doing this number 3 here, it's because I sometimes, if you do it a baby garment and you want that little thing to roll to be like this, it's much easier to roll. Okay, and it has the purpose that is very elastic. See, it's very forgiving. So if you have the bottoms of baby pants, or baby, around the sleeves, you could do this. Okay, you could just leave it be like that and it would roll it, but it doesn't have the stop. It's very elastic and it's very forgiving. Okay, so let's do the number 3 now. Okay, so I call it the number 3. I call it the E-wrap, but that's E-wrap 1. We have E-wrap 1 and we have E-wrap 2. So we are doing the E-wrap 1. The E-wrap 1, it's a very fast way to do it. However, you have to pay attention, because I'm just undoing here, folks. It's the fastest way is this one. However, like I was saying, you have to pay attention because it gets really tight, and then you might break your needle if you let it, if you thread the machine too tight. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. I hope it's visible for you. So let's see. So the E-wrap, when you start the E-wrap, start it again before your wall. Okay, start again before your wall. Okay. So to prevent the new stitch to not fall. So what you do is you just do again 1, and you just do this way. Okay, and you keep wrapping. So that's your E-wrap. Very easy. Bringing the yarn out around the neck of the needle, out around the neck of the needle, out around the neck of needle. So again, out around the neck of the needle and down. So crank the machine as you go. Now bring the yarn around the outside wall. Okay, now you get the yarn and you put it in your yarn feeder close the yarn feeder. Okay, now this is what I'm saying, you have to be careful. So you're going to push your stitch all the way down, because if you don't, you might lose it. Okay, so again, pushing it down. So the first row, it's a little bit tricky because you have to pull down the stitches, okay, and it can get a little tight. So the more stitches you have in your machine, the tighter it goes. So you have to physically help the machine, and it's quite a very tight job here. And if you force it too much, you might break the machine, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so again, I'm demonstrating this because you see I did it too tight, and you have to give a little extra room, weaving the yarn around the needles very loosely, looser than normal. Okay, so once we pass the first row, now the other rows are much easier. Okay, but it's still, you still have to put it down. You still have to put it down. See, you have to help your machine. You have to help your machine pulling down the yarn, the stitches, so you don't break your machine. Now, the third one or the fourth one is much easier. It falls nice and easy. Just to pay attention to the first one, which is this one, and the last one. Always pay attention to the first one and the last one when you're doing a flat pen, and do it a little tug. Okay, so what is the purpose of this one, this one here? The purpose of this one here is just to give a loose, and I'm gonna show you this one. So this is the E-wrap one. So give a very loose biting off. Okay, so let's say you need a lot of room. Let's say you're doing a hat, a beanie hat, but not a double beanie, just a beanie hat, and the person needs a little bit more room at the in the brim. So what you can do is you do the E-wrap, because the E-wrap gives a lot of yarn. You can stretch farther, you see. So this is the purpose of this one. Again, this one could be used for a garment where you have to do let's say for a dog, and you have to do a garment for a dog, a sweater for a dog. I would do the E-wrap first. I would do in the top and the bottom, because this way your yarn has a much more forgiving to be stretched. Okay, and that was our E-wrap one. Now we are going to do the fourth one, which is our E-wrap, okay, double. So is this one. So let me show you how you do it, or you can call it the E-wrap with foundation. So we're going to do the E-wrap with foundation. Okay, let me undo this very fast. Again, how you finish, there is a few ways how to finish. I'm going to demonstrate how you do it. Okay, so the E-wrap with the foundation row is a little bit different. Okay, again, starting with your clothespin at the bottom, okay, of your yarn, just to give a little weight to secure it in place. And I started here behind the wall. Okay, I started here. So this one, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put it around the needle at the bottom. See, it goes around of the teeth at the bottom. I'm going to secure the yarn there, okay, with my tool, and I'm going to braid the yarn and wrap around the neck, okay, and then I'm gonna crank the machine. So again, braid the yarn around the needle, okay, holding all the way at the bottom with my tool and bringing the yarn around the neck of the needle and knitting, crank it, the machine. Again, braid the yarn around the needle, okay, secure it with your tool, and the yarn goes around the neck of the needle, and you just crank the machine. Once more, around the needle, secure at the bottom, around the neck. So around the needle, secure the yarn around the neck. Around the needle, secure the yarn around the neck. Around the neck, and crank a bit. Again, once more, around the needle, all the way the base of the needle, okay, all the way down. Hold the yarn with your tool and bring the yarn around the neck. So let's say now we have all the number of the stitches we needed. So make sure you knit, go very, now you're going to do is you're going to bring it back down the yarn. You see, the yarn is being lifted by the needle, and what you do is you just bring it down. One by one you bring it down. Okay, it doesn't take too long, and that's it, and you did it. So now you just crank the machine as usual, and you just keep cranking back and forth, okay, or in a round, how you wish, okay. And this is the E wrap with the foundation yarn, and that's number 4 stitch, or number 4 beginning, okay. So this is how it would look like. It's a way more forgiving than the E-wrap. So again, if you really need an extra yarn at the bottom to be very forgiving, or to stretch a lot, this is what you do. You use this one, because look at how farther it stretches, really far. So where I would use this, I would use this on a slippers. If it's like a sock slipper that you need a lot of room around your ankles, I would do this, okay, because this would provide me with the extra room, with the extra yarn. And how would I finish this? The finishing, it would be up to you. You can finish any way. You could, if you want to do crochet, what you would do is you do it 2 or 3 crochets, 2 or 3 single crochets in 1 strand, so it would be very loose, okay. So this was my stitch number 4 with a foundation, okay. Now we're going to do number 5. Number 5 is the strand wrapping. The strand wrapping, it's a little bit different, so let's do the strand wrapping, okay. So the strand wrapping, it's like I said, the names I use to describe this foundation rows, I just pop in my head. I haven't seen them anywhere else. I don't know if other people use it. If anybody out there can see the video and let me know what they think, and let me know if they ever use these ones or if they did know about it. I really appreciate, or if you have more ways to do it, please leave in a comment box too. I would like to learn it. I'm always, it's very interesting how people interpret things in this machine. So, this method here, okay, this method here, the 2 strands wrapping, it's a little bit, I call it the lazy one, because what I do is, it's very simple. So if I know I need the number more or less of rows I needed, what I do is I just leave it a huge tail, a big tail, more or less just to make up for all the stitches I need. Okay, and what I do is I do a little knot to begin, and I bring that little knot to my needle and I put it right around the neck. Okay, so and then I pick it up, the 2 strands like this. Okay, I pick it up, the 2 strands like this, and what I do is I just move my hands back and forth, okay, to pick up that yarn. So I'm going to do this. So one goes in, one goes out. So in and out, and you crisscrossing them. Okay, all you do is just crisscrossing the yarn with your fingers. Okay, very easy. Crisscross. After you do this a couple times, you get a little practice, and this is very, very easy method for you to do it as well. So I always finish with my little strand at the top, which is around the needle there, and then I let it go of it, and that's where I put my little clip. Okay, so it stays there. Now I get the long tail of yarn, and I just put it inside the machine. So I feed the machine, and now I keep just going slowly. Okay, the only thing you have to pay attention is the beginning and is the end. This is a very, very nice method for you to do a garment. If you don't have intentions to do a border, you just do this way, because your border is practically finished, is done. Okay, so we're going to just to do one more row. I'm gonna stop it, and I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. So here it is. I'm going to show you, and this is how I have it. Okay, this is how it would be. It would be like that, and I wouldn't have to do anything anymore. Okay, so this is my fifth one. I mean my sixth one, and now we're gonna do the number 7, the last one, and this one I call it the crochet regular. Okay, the regular crochet. Oh, sorry, that was my 5th one. I'm going to do the 6th one now, which is the regular crochet. Okay, so the regular crochet, why you need the regular crochet? The regular crochet is simple, a simple method that I was trying to find if people use it, and I came across to a video with I forgot the name of the lady. Oh my goodness, forgive me guys. She was doing this crochet on a flatbed machine, okay? And of course in a flatbed machine, you know, it's totally different. We are going to do it here. So to begin, I start with a knot, okay? And I put it again, let me encounter my first white one, okay? And we put it around the neck, close a bit, tight a bit. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm just leaving a little room here on my very first loop, and I insert my hook over there, and I pick it up a loop and I bring it over, okay? I bring over. So again, I insert my crochet hook inside that loop, picking up the loop, pulling the loop, and going through the needle, okay? Again, pick it up a loop, bringing that loop to the next needle, okay? Introduce your hook in that loop, picking it up, the yarn, bring it to the next needle, and you could do this, okay? So you would do this very fast too, you know. Of course, anything comes with practice, and like I said, different beginnings is for different purpose, and you pick the one that you like the most, and you know, the one is faster for you, okay? One last time, I'm introducing my hook inside the loop that you create, pull up another loop, and then bring it to your needle. Okay, when it comes to the last one, what you do is you go around that wall, behind the wall, and bring the yarn to the yarn feeder, okay? And then just crank your machine normally. And this is crochet 1 or crochet regular. Many uses for it too, many uses. One that is very useful too is to create a foundation for if you want to knit, give a knit border, okay? So that's again my, let me show you because I lost. So this is the one, okay? This is how it comes off the machine. So let's do the last one, the number 7. Don't want to overwhelm you. Just, you know, pause the video and watch carefully all of them, and you know, start practicing, okay? So I'm going to do the crochet, I call the crochet base, okay? So the crochet base is a little bit different. What you do is you creating a loop with your crochet hook. So you're going to create your loop, and you have your loop, and you put it in there, okay? Which is doesn't matter, but that's what you're going to do. So after you're creating that, you have to stick your needle there, and you're going to get your yarn, and yarn is going to be in front of your needle. You see, it goes towards to you, closer to you. And what you do is you pick it up a loop from your crochet hook, with your crochet hook, you pick it up a loop, and you introduce and you pull up a loop. So again, and you keep cranking. This method is important if you just you know, pay attention. The yarn has to be around the neck of the needle. Okay, again, the yarn is in this side, closest to you. You have a loop in your hook. You're picking up another loop, and you're going to have the loop and your hook. Now you're going to crank the machine. Again, the yarn have to be in front of your needle. Okay, pick it up a loop. That loop goes around the needle, and so on. So that's what you're doing. You're creating like a foundation row, like a crochet foundation row. Very, very similar. Again, this is nice to do some crochet border. Also nice for knitting the border. Very, very nice. And you know, whatever is nice too is if you're going to do a fringe, you have those loops, the big loops, which is the chain that you created, and it's much easier to do a fringe. Okay, so I'm just gonna do one more. So again, the yarn have to be okay in front of you, in front of the needle. You have one loop in your hook, and you pick it up another loop, and that's what you do it. And again, my last one, you just have to return that loop that you created, that it was on your hook. You have to put it on the next needle, with the needle in front of you. Now you bring the yarn around the wall, and then get that yarn and put it again in your machine, in your yarn feeder. And now what you do is just crank normally. Like I said, now you have all these choices. What you do is you practice. Tell me which ones you know. Tell me which ones you didn't know. I really love to your comments. And you know, this is a teaching tool, this machine. We are always learning. I'm always learning new things. The more I explore this machine, of course, the more I can teach you, and the more we can find out if we put our heads together. So communication with this machine is a must. And please leave your comment on my comment box there. And you know, I do have a group called Fatima Circular Knitting. You know, check it there. I have patterns there. I have many different stitches and many different ideas. Okay, so everyone is welcome there. Again, thank you so much. And until next time, I see you next time, and you know, we can create something again. So I'm gonna show you how it is, this one, and that's what it is. Okay, they all look very similar, but some of them are more forgiving than the others. Okay, so until next time, thank you so much, and you know, be good to each other. Bye bye.